start, brought to you by Briggs and Stratton. Here we are at beautiful karting Mont Tremblant for the final of the Briggs and Stratton Senior, which has become the most exciting class in karting. Jeffrey Kingsley on P1, who is also leading the championship at this point of the season. He's definitely taken a step forward. Also was very dominant and strong in DD2. With a pole position in that class. Marco Signoretti, extremely fast and competitive at ICAR in the pouring rain. Always look for him to be a threat. Jonathan Treadwell, who's currently third in the championship, will start last. Seemed to be struggling all weekend. Not quite sure what the issue is. In P5, Simon Bélanger, last year's winner. That's correct. The man who won the championship last year. We see him all smiles here. This is a clip from last year getting his trophy for the championship. And Simon Bélanger has been struggling a little bit this year, not quite at the front of the pack, but seems to be battling between 4th and 6th right now. Doesn't seem to have the speed. There we have Jean-François Lafontaine back from a short hiatus. Jean-François is involved in many projects. P6, Nathan Gilbert, a young driver who keeps getting faster and faster. Our championship so far today: Kingsley, Signoretti, Jonathan Treadwell, who we saw will be starting at the back of the pack, Pierce Herter, Tyler McCulloch, Simon Bélanger. Those are the top 6 in the championship. On pole position, there he is, your man, Jeffrey Kingsley. So fast and dominant as the years go by. Jeffrey just keeps getting better and better, like a fine wine. Jean-François Lafontaine outside of pole position on the front row. Definitely a threat anytime he has a steering wheel in his hand. Marco Signoretti, as we've seen racing a few classes, will be starting in P3. Oh, very sly look from Jonathan. Looks very determined. Pierce Herter will be started on the outside of row 4. Outside of row 2, sorry, and that's in P4. Pierce Herter never being neglected. And there's Simon Bélanger, last year's winner, starting in P5, is stuck in the 3rd row this year. Not quite at the front like he was last year. That just shows you how competitive this class is. It's anyone's race. It's anyone's game. Nathan Gilbert on the outside of row 3 in P6, and there Jonathan Treadwell, our man who's in 3rd place in the championship at this point, will be starting at the back of the pack in 23rd. And it's so hard to make up ground in the Briggs and Stratton championship. The engines are so evenly matched. The drivers are all so good coming from the back. It'll be short of a miracle if we can get Jonathan to the front. But anything's possible. He is a very good driver. And this is motor racing after all. So anything can happen. And as Murray Walker used to say, it usually does. Here we go. We got a signal from our official. The engines are all fired up. Have a bit of an overcast sky, but hopefully the rain won't be an issue with us today. Here we go. We're going onto the track for the very often unpredictable and exciting Briggs and Stratton Senior Final. You see some of the dust being kicked up. It's because we had rain earlier, and that brings the dust out. It brings the sand out of the asphalt. So the track is actually very slippery, but gets sticky very fast. This is what we call a green track, and when the drivers start to run on it, we get some the rubber comes down just so quickly. So here we see our second part of the starting grid in the Briggs and Stratton Senior Final. Charlotte Lalonde in 19th place. We're used to seeing her in the top front. Michael Yanko is in 16th place, and we also used to seeing him closer to the front. Here we are on our pace lap. Just a few corners to go before we get a start of the often very exciting Briggs and Stratton Final. We see our drivers in perfect formation, negotiating the last couple of turns. This is corner 14 and then 15, which is a bit of an uphill shoot as they take the left-hander going to the start-finish line. Here we go. Oh, this is a great camera angle. You can see them coming up the hill, and then you got the left-hander corner as they head towards the start-finish line. You look at the inside row is pushing Jeffrey Kings. Here we go, green flag here in the Briggs and Stratton Senior Final, and the inside row took off very well. We can see Signoretti in P3 is now in P2. Jean-François Lafontaine drops back to 3rd place. We see that at this track where the inside row really has a good advantage. Kingsley, Signoretti, Lafontaine, Bélanger, and Herter, your top 5. Look for them to battle throughout the weekend for the race victory. This This is where all the action comes. Oh, it's a very nasty collision in the middle of the pack. Michael Yanko, yeah, not often to being in the back of the pack, was involved in a major collision there. Looks like 3 or 4 carts got off the track. But back at the front, everything is racing. Lafontaine here, who does not like to draft and stay in the middle of the pack. He likes to go to the front. We see him in third place with Pierce Herder right behind him. There's Lafontaine right on the bumper. Marco Signoretti. And right behind Pierce Herder is Simon Bélanger. There goes Lafontaine on the inside. Like I said, does not like to follow. He is now in second place. Very important in Briggs and Stratton Senior. Drafting is key and being in the right position in the final laps of the race. But Lafontaine, he's an old school driver. He just likes to go to the front. He wants to be in first place all the time. This battle here early in the race for second place has allowed our leader, Jeffrey Kingsley, to pull a gap of about, as we can see here, 5 to 6 cart lengths. Oh, some more activity in the back of the pack. There's Pierce Herder on the inside of Signoretti. Can he make it work? Yes. Pierce Herder on the inside of Signoretti. Signoretti going to retry back? Yes. Marco Signoretti looks very determined today as he comes back on the inside of Pierce Herder to maintain or regain that third place. You see that quite often. Passes at the hairpin, but then on the exit of the hairpin, more passes. If you don't get your timing just right. Oh, here we go back on the inside. Pierce Herder. A little contact with Lafontaine. Signoretti. Pierce Herder on the outside. Jean-Francois Lafontaine, in the blink of an eye, goes from second to fourth. So close to battling in this class. You make one little mistake, or if there's an aggressive pass, you can lose a couple of positions so quickly. Meanwhile, back at the front, Jeffrey Kingsley still keeps pulling away from the field. This is an ideal situation for Jeffrey Kingsley. As we see Simon Bélanger now right behind Lafontaine. Is Lafontaine have an issue with his car? Does he not quite have it set up? So important, this long straightaway to draft, and if from second to fifth place they stick together. Oh no, we have a sixth place competitor who's joined the party. If they can all stick together, they will be able to reel in Jeffrey Kingsley, but they have to stick together and not fight. If they start fighting amongst themselves, that will just play into Jeffrey Kingsley's hand, and he will be able to maintain that lead. Very similar to stock car racing. The drafting is just so important. Maintaining, being calm and composed, not easy to do. Just very important. Will they catch the leader? We'll find out after this short break. At Tremblant, during the break, Signoretti and Herder have closed the gap on your leader, Jeffrey Kingsley. It was inevitable that if they worked together, they would be able to reel in Jeffrey Kingsley. Not because he's not fast, but drafting's so important. Here comes Signoretti on the inside of Kingsley, being aided by Pierce Herder. Marco Signoretti, your new leader, and Pierce Herder took advantage of that to get into second place. As we've seen a few times this weekend, in the blink of an eye at that hairpin, Jeffrey Kingsley has now gone from the lead to third place. Marco Signoretti, your new leader, being aided by Pierce Herder. If they work together calmly, they might pull away, but now we got a train of 4. That would be Kingsley, Lafontaine, Simon Bélanger, and Isaac Merritt has now joined the party. If those 4 stick together, oh, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All stuck together. Major drafting being happening right now. So important to have a cart that doesn't grip too much, because if you're going to grip too much, you're going to start to drop back. But everyone seems to be hooked up just fine. I don't know. I wouldn't want to have to predict the winner of this race. Here we go down the long straightaway. Here he goes on the inside, Jeffrey Kingsley. He doesn't like being in third place. Oh, did not quite have the speed. Probably didn't negotiate corner 2 as well as he wanted to. For the time being, it looks like Isaac Merritt is being a little bit impatient there in 6th place. He's joined the front pack. Haven't seen him at the front yet this year, and he seems to have a lot of speed, maybe just biding his time. Back to some of our in-cart footage there as Jeffrey Kingsley, who led the early part of this race. I don't think Jeffrey is too happy to be in third place. Mind you, you want to be at the front in the last capital laps, because as we've seen throughout the whole season in Briggs and Stratton Senior, anything can happen, and it usually does. Nose to bumper, nose to bumper. Marco Signoretti, Pierce Herter, Jeffrey Kingsley, the top 3 drivers in this class, definitely seem to be all hooked up quite right. LaFontaine maybe about a half a kart length behind. Oh, LaFontaine was very fast. That's corner 2. So important to get corner 2 just right because it leads onto the lawn straightaway. There, Pierce Herter now. He's goes on the inside of Signoretti. You see his kart up on 2 wheels. Oh, could not quite make it work. It looked like at the 3/4 part of the straightaway, when he got out of the draft, that Pierce Herter did not quite have the speed to get Marco Signoretti. Marco Signoretti, who just keeps getting stronger and stronger this season, has been leading this race now for the last couple of laps, and it looks like our 3rd, 4th, and our 4th, 5th, and 6th competitors are dropping back ever so slightly. The top 3 drivers really seem to be hooked up just right. Here comes Pierce Herter. Pierce is trying the inside. Not too often do we see a pass at corner 14 and 15 as they come by the start-finish straightaway. Pierce Herter, that was a very aggressive move to try and make. Oh, here he goes back and tries to get the lead again here in corner 1. I think he really unbalanced Marco Signoretti in corner 14. And here we go. It's all happening right now. Pierce Herter, Jeffrey Kingsley, LaFontaine. You got a feel for Signoretti getting left out. He's going from 1st to 4th in the span of two corners. Pierce Herter now on the outside. Kingsley tries the outside. Oh, Marco Signoretti back down into 5th place. Marco Signoretti is now back into 6th. Now he goes back up into 5th. Everything is happening so quickly here in this Briggs and Stratton final. Come back with us. We'll be back after this short break for more exciting action of the Briggs and Stratton Senior Final. To Tremblant for the exciting last couple of laps here. Herter, Kingsley, LaFontaine, Signoretti, and Isaac Merritt, your top 5 as Simon Belanger has dropped into 6th place. Here it is, Pierce Herter, Jeffrey Kingsley, friends, teammates, but there are no friends, going down the lawn straightaway into the hairpin. Will Kingsley make an attempted pass here on Pierce Herter? No, he's going to bide his time. There we see LaFontaine in 3rd, who has now dropped back. And that's Marco Signoretti 4th, Isaac Merritt in 5th, and Simon Belanger seems to be struggling. Just kind of being in 6th place right now reflects his championship. The man who won the championship last year is dropping back. Jeffrey Kingsley, hot on the tail of Pierce Herter. Just waiting for the smallest mistakes from Pierce Herter so he can pounce and get into the front. LaFontaine kinds all by himself, and Signoretti in P4 with Isaac Merritt right behind him. We seem to have a little break here between 3rd and 4th and 5th. Not quite sure what happened there. Here comes Jeffrey Kingsley on the final lap. Jeffrey Kingsley on the final lap tries the outside. You're not going to make it work there, Jeffrey. You know that. Here we go into corner 2. The run in corner 2 is so important. Oh, Kingsley seems to have made that just perfectly. Jeffrey Kingsley, if he's going to get by Pierce Herter, it's going to be very soon. It's got to be now. This is the final lap. Tries the outside of the hairpin. That never works. I think Jeffrey knows that. Oh, this has allowed the rest of the field to bunch up. Pierce Herter and Kingsley have now Jean-Francois LaFontaine right on their tail. Isaac Merritt up into 4th place, and Marco Signoretti in 5th. Half a lap to go as Jeffrey Kingsley is looking left and right. How am I going to get by? How am I going to get by my friend and arch rival Pierce Herter? This has allowed the whole field to group up. Look at this, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. Marco Signoretti in 5th, weaving back and forth. LaFontaine on the inside of Isaac Merritt. Pierce Herter seems to have this thing in control. We're going up the last chute here into the final corner. Here he is, your winner, Pierce Herter, Kingsley, LaFontaine, Isaac Merritt with a very strong finish in 4th place, and Marco Signoretti dropped back into 5th. So much action and confusion. Once again, your leaderboard: Herter, Kingsley, LaFontaine, Isaac Merritt, Marco Signoretti, Alex Murphy, strong drive from him up into 6th place. Simon Belanger, who kept dropping back, is in 7th. Alex De Silva in 8th place. Tyler McCulloch 9. William Gosselin 10. Nathan Gilbert, who had started on the 3rd row, is back in 11. And we saw Jonathan Tudwell up into 13th place. Coming from the back of the field, I think that was all you could do, being in Jonathan's case. We see LaFontaine. This was an early earlier in the race where LaFontaine kind of got squeezed out by Signoretti and cut the grass. I don't think there's any penalty for that. It's just you lose track position. We'll be back after this short break. Back to the awards ceremony. Jean-Francois Lafontaine, who gets his first podium of the season. Good-looking Jean-Francois is now in P3. And Pierce Herter, the man who finished in second place. How come he's in second? He got a one-position penalty. Just before we went to break, we saw that contact with Lafontaine where Lafontaine got into the grass. The officials decided to give him P1, give him a one-position penalty. That's why he's second. So, your winner, the man who was second on the track, but definitely very fast, Jeffrey Kingsley. Coming up, an interview with our second place man, Pierce Herter.
Oh, well, we come to you and we say, hey, congratulations, you won the race, but apparently you didn't win the race.
Apparently a little bit of contact. Depends how you word contact in this scenario. They saw it as contact. Apparently there wasn't enough fair racing room, and I was penalized at position for it. But hey, they get to make the calls.
Next show here on our Champkart broadcast, Quebec's karting tour. We have the Saudi World Series, Briggs and Stratton senior race from Karting Chateau Richer. I'm Norm Trottier, looking to see you next race. Champkart brought to you by Briggs and Stratton.